Hello, and welcome back to User Experience Design, Understanding User Engagement. In today's section, we're going to be starting Section 3, User Personas. What we'll be learning in this section is how to move from our proto-personas, which we did in the last section, and into an opportunity to grow that empathy for our users and build a more shareable, person-related, human-centered deliverable, which is known as a user persona. We'll talk about what it takes to build these things. We'll talk about how we engage and build on engaging in our users. And then we'll get excited about the journey for the rest of Section 3. So let's get started. How to move from our proto-personas into user personas. How and why user experience cares about its users. Now, when we talk about the user experience process, we start at this beginning stage of discovering. And discovering is built into understanding who we're designing for, what their problems are, what they're going to be doing. And it's really about finding what the right problem is. And part of that goes into defining who our user is. That starts with using our empathy skills, by talking with our users, by interviewing them, and then we can move in to be really concrete. And when we talk about user experience design and human-centered design, it allows us to build things that become shareable, and our empathy becomes something that we can move throughout organizations and we can apply to what our users need, but then that everyone else who's building things for those users is also knowledgeable about that and knows who we're designing for. Now, if you remember back from Section 2, we worked on a proto-persona. We talked about this woman, Mary Johnson. She has 3 kids under the age of 13. She uses the internet and buys household products. Her kids are always snacking and don't tell her when she goes to the grocery store. She needs access to stuff, blah, blah, blah. Now, for us, when we start to get a sense of who that person is, that person was invented by us, but we could go out and we could really start to care about Mary and why caring for her is important for what we design. And if we start to love humans deeply, when we want to communicate both with them in interviews and discussions and user feedback, but also we want to be able to move our understanding of that person to other designers we're working with, to the CEOs and the kind of business design decision makers, but also to the developers and everybody else who's doing that. Because when we can communicate that well, we build better products. And part of building better products is about learning and listening to your users. And to find the right problem, you really need to concentrate on not making it about your agenda as a designer, but listening to what Mary is about. If you want to see an interesting video on the kind of power of listening, go to Google or to Vimeo, to YouTube or to Vimeo, and type in "It's Not About the Nail." This is a great little video. It's short. You could stop and do it now, or you could watch it after this. But the point is that this is really kind of poignant into what it means to listen and how sometimes you just need to not make it about you when you're paying attention to your user. Now, when we listen to our users deeply, we start to understand and we get to have deep user knowledge. Now, that deep user knowledge shouldn't be owned only by UX designers, but it should be then communicated back out, and our empathy allows to improve not only just our user's experience, but how everyone else is knowledgeable about how they design and what they build. And when we do that, we move from a ancillary or kind of on the edges of empathy, which are our proto-personas, and into a deep understanding about who we design for. And this starts to allow us to get into how our users feel, what are their emotions when they're engaging in a project, what are their behaviors, what are their needs, what are they frustrated by, what are their habits and patterns. And all these things allow to put a real human face to the devices and the things and the products and the services that we put into the world as UX designers. And when we do that really well, sometimes they can be beautiful, sometimes they get put up on walls, sometimes they get shared, but they should be in a format that communicates in what we do. And what we're going to be doing in the next couple of sections is we're going to be building and learning how to build out our user personas.